Welcome to the All Life's Hats podcast, hosted by Tanae Hoffman, where we talk about all life's hats we wear. Today's episode is all about momhood, as you can see from the shirt. So I'm a mom of a very, very hyper 5-year-old. She is my world, but I definitely need a break from her sometimes. The one question people always have for me is, when are you going to have another one? Well, Haley is going to be an only child for the foreseeable future. She was a very trying baby. Not able to say that. She did not sleep. I promise you, my daughter did not start sleeping through the night until she was 4 years old. And people think that's crazy. Try living it. She's very much a mommy's girl. Her favorite stores are Home Depot and Target. She loves being outside with daddy and working on the car. I call her my warrior princess because one second she's in her Disney princess trying to have a tea party and playing princess. The next she's running around with a stick chasing people or trying to do an oil change. That's how well-rounded my child is. Now, when it comes to the question, why is she only child? So my pregnancy journey was an interesting one. When I got pregnant, I found out on Father's Day. Now, everybody thinks that was a practical joke of my husband. Even he thought I was kidding. I wasn't. I took a test because we were supposed to be going on a boat trip, and the last thing I wanted to know is I needed to bring supplies for myself. And ladies, you know what I mean. So I took a test, and I'm calling from the bathroom. Babe, happy Father's Day. He thinks I'm messing with him, so he tries to tell me I need to take another test. Half an hour later, test positive again, we're having my daughter. Funniest part about the story is my mother-in-law, we told her that day, she nearly jumped down a flight of stairs. She was so excited. Yeah. So I was pregnant for an entire summer because my daughter was born February 28th. I had a great pregnancy. I mean, no morning sickness, no throwing up, no real heartburn. I ate pasta and had orange juice the entire time. You wouldn't have known I was pregnant unless you were standing in front of me. I didn't actually show till I was 7 months. Pro tip though, never go to Disney World when you're 7 months pregnant. Wasn't my best idea, but at the time, it seemed like a smart idea. I mean, we had already booked a trip before I got pregnant because it was our 5-year anniversary, but that place is huge and you do a lot of walking. I felt like a penguin. And we got to do none of the night stuff because by 8 o'clock, I was in bed with my feet up. We were watching My 500-Pound Life every night the entire time we were on vacation. I don't know why that was a comforting thing to watch while I was pregnant, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. Now, fast forward to the last couple weeks of my pregnancy, that's when it got rocky. I had a low platelet count. Now, with that, it causes dangers with the baby because potentially you could have seizures at unknown time, or it'll cause you not to be able to have an epidural. So I wanted to be induced way earlier than I actually was because Haley was a week late according to the calendar. I was hoping and tried everything to have labor early, but this child was stubborn in my womb, and she still is. I wanted her born on Valentine's Day because Valentine's Days have a special place in my heart. Didn't happen. Was glad she wasn't born on the day of the Super Bowl because that was when the Eagles won and everybody that would drive me to the hospital were all in one house. So I kind of had to stay as calm as possible because if I go into labor, I was having a home birth, whether I liked it or not. So by the time I finally was able to be induced, we got to the hospital and they said, look, either you get an epidural now or later. I thought I was going to want it at natural birth, but if you're given an option like that, you're going to take it because if you want to change your mind, you kind of can't. But the problem with me was it didn't take necessarily. You know that for those who've been pregnant or are planning pregnancy, this is not to scare you, but what happens with some people with epidurals is it only works on half your body. So what happens is they have to roll you to make it work on the other half. Happened to me. And also, my epidural kept wearing off. So, in a sense, when you're supposed to keep pressing the button, I wasn't because I wasn't feeling any pain. Unfortunately, by the time I actually started going after labor, 11 hours later, I couldn't get any more meds. So when they broke my water, I felt everything. I hate my body's high tolerance for medication. This is one of those times it sucks. So they broke my water. The nurse was like, oh, we'll come back in like an hour because you still have some time. The doctor's on his way. 15 minutes later, my husband, my mom, and my mother-in-law were all in the room with me, and I'm telling them, go get that nurse, please. She's coming. And the nurse is like, oh, it just feels... And then she checks. She was coming. The funniest thing to me about my labor was two things. One, when the doctor told us I would need to start pushing, my husband disappeared for like 5 seconds. And if you've been in the hospital room, you know the bathroom is very close to the inside of the room. I hear dry heaving. My husband was so nervous, he was about to puke. I don't know why I was laughing at his pain, but that calmed me down. Also, amazing part about me, anybody who knows me personally, I have a bit of a potty mouth. I didn't cuss the entire labor. That was quite shocking to me. And I was the only natural birth that entire night when I was in the hospital. I swore up and down, given how tiny I was in the waist, I was going to need a C-section. I naturally birthed that child. I'm kind of proud of myself. Not to knock anybody that's had a C-section. Y'all are still warriors when it comes to having a baby. But given my family history, I swore I was, and to actually have a natural birth was amazing. She was born healthy, but what I found out later, she had the cord wrapped around her neck twice, which the doctor was amazing, got it off immediately, didn't have a problem. But I remember when my daughter was born, she didn't cry right away, probably because the cord was wrapped around her neck. But I remember when the doctor lifted her up for the first time, we made eye contact, and I knew she was fine. Everybody else in the room was kind of freaking out, but I'm calm because I know she was fine. Then I hear her crying. The doctor said she's 7 pounds, 6 ounces. And I go, that's it, because I felt like I was carrying a bowling ball for the past month. I mean, I was huge. If I can, I'll bring a picture, but I was huge. But yeah, from that day on, she changed my life for the better. So being a mom, if anybody asks me what's my greatest accomplishment in life, I would definitely say it was being her mom. Now, Haley was tough, still is, but she was very tough as a baby because she didn't like a lot of people. I mean, getting some time off, like having her be babysat, was a bit tough. I mean, we didn't go out for the first time until she was about 6 weeks old, and that was just because we had a wedding we had to go to, and that was kind of iffy, and we were only going for 2 hours, but she did good. The person that watched her actually was one of the nurses that was in the hospital with us. But other than that, not many people could watch my daughter because she did not like being away from me. She still doesn't, but now she's older. She's a big girl. She doesn't need a babysitter. She needs a big girl sitter. So it was a bit tough because she didn't want to be watched by anyone. I drop her off at my mom's. She would cry for an hour before she'd calm down. Now she basically kicks me out my own mother's house. Go figure. But what I've learned with my daughter is I definitely pick my battles. As a mom, you definitely know to pick your battles with kids because sometimes it's not worth it to fight with them about things. If you want to wear stripes and polka dots, it's all good. You're wearing pants. If you want to have a snack, are you leaving me alone for 5 seconds? It's all good. Sometimes it's not worth the fight. You want to say something, but you let it go. She does experiments with sand and water in my backyard. I still need to clean the back deck at some point, but it's still all good. Do I think I'm the perfect mom? No, there are times where I really feel like I'm messing up. But the best thing that happens is when people see me and her interact with each other. One, they think it's hilarious because I talk to her like a regular person, which is probably why she has a vocabulary of an older kid. But they can definitely see how much I'm trying to make her a well-rounded, good kid. Because she does have a big heart. She's always trying to help people. She's always trying to be nice to people. She's like, I call her a mother hen because, one, she's like the tallest kid in her class. I mean, she's 5. She looks 7. But She has a big heart. She's very loving. I mean, I wish she was less lovey. 6 a.m. hugs are not always fun. I mean, imagine you hear little footsteps come in your room at 6 o'clock in the morning. Mommy. Yes, love. Can I watch TV? Good morning to you too. Yes, go watch TV. But all in all, she's an awesome kid. And there are times where she's having one of her full out, blown out meltdowns over something silly or not getting her way. And it's like, I get super stressed out sometimes because sometimes there are points where she freaks out. I can't calm her down. I just got to let her scream. And I don't want to scream at her because it's just going to make it worse. I'm tired. She's tired. Nothing's working. And I have to tell myself, just step back and just say, put it in God's hands. But there are times where I'm like thinking I suck at it and I hear someone say or meet me and go, you're a good mom. And times like that, people don't realize it, but every mom needs to hear that sometimes. You can be having the worst time with your kid and someone out of nowhere tells me you're doing a good job. That feels like a weight lifted off your shoulders. That actually happened to me a week ago because me and my husband have having a rough time with Haley with her emotional regulation and her impulse control. I mean, the kid kind of started a fire at the house the other day. Yeah, she's banned from candles right now. But I just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. I didn't know what to do, but I was at my office and someone said, you know what? Haley is such a sweet kid. You're doing an awesome job. And hearing that made me feel a lot better. So for the moms who are having a rough day or a rough time with your kid where you can't get them to stop crying or you can't get them to listen or you just are tired of hearing mom for the 90,000th time today, you're doing a great job. It may not feel like it in the moment, but you're doing the best you can with what you have. Whether you are married, single, whether you have one kid, whether you have 9, you're doing the best you can with what you have. So give yourself that grace sometimes because I'm not the best at it, but I have to remind myself I'm doing the best I can because motherhood does not come with a book. There are books on motherhood, but every kid is different. Every kid have different needs, wants, personalities. I feel like mine has 4 sometimes, but you've got to remember that we're all winging it. We're all trying to figure it out as we go along. So if you just got to give yourself that ability to have grace and to give yourself the opportunity to say, look, I'm not perfect at it, but I'm trying. So for today, I want to give flowers to the moms. Moms out there, whether you know it or not, you're awesome. Thank you for checking out the All Life's Hats podcast. Stay tuned for more.